Chapter 2, Section 3. I think the first part's review for sure. I'm not totally sure about the second part. But basically we're doing kind of a back and forth thing. So in the first part we say here's a formula, fill in numbers on a data table. In the second part where we're going is that here's a data table. Now what's the formula or what's the equation for it? Fair enough? That's kind of the main hitters of what we're trying to cover today. So this first one, I just tried coming up with they say you're supposed to tip 15%. So you go to a restaurant. If you have a waiter or waitress, your parents are supposed to take 15% of the total bill and give that to the server if they had good service, more if they had great service, less if they have terrible service. Okay, but so we'll say 15%. So it gives us this equation here. So T equals 0.15, that'll be 15% of B, which is like the total bill. Fair enough? And to fill in this data table, essentially what you do is this top row is this lowercase b, so 10 is my first b, 14.5 is my second b. So we're just going to take those numbers and put them in for b. So if you grab a calculator, do 0.15 times 10, it gives us $1.50. So the tip then for a $10 bill would be $1.50. Now, if we're talking money, is 1.5 the best answer for money?
No.
1.5, 0. Make it look, so money typically you round it to 2 digits, just because then that would be like $1.50. Where you could do the same thing now, if your bill was $14.50, we take that and put that in for this B. So 0.15 times 14.50. So we get 2.175. So what should I write in that box with proper rounding? Would be 2.18. Because it's money, we want to round it to 2 digits. So we look at that 7. Because the next number is a 5, we round it up to 18 cents. Good? Last one, anybody beat me to that last number? 0.15 times 23.79. So I'm taking this and putting it in for B right there. And that gives me 3.5685. So the tip, if you want to try to aim for exactly 15%, should be 3. Go for it, 57. Because my next digit's an 8, we round the 6 up to a 7. How you doing? Feeling good?
Feeling great.
Awesome. So I'm guessing that's all review, nothing new and snazzy. It's not review. That's new. Awesome. That's going to change your life, man. Maybe not, but you do that kind of stuff a lot as you go throughout this year and future years. All right, this next one. I think these are kind of fun. Some of you might agree with me. Some of you might hate them like the plague. But okay, you're going to love it. All right, so here's what we're trying to do. Usually in our equations, we end up with like, I wouldn't write this, but you end up with y equals something over here with like an x in it. Fair enough? And usually our data tables have an x in the top row and a y in the bottom. I probably should have skipped a lot of that and just said, when you have a data table, typically what you do is your equation is going to be this bottom variable equals. So D equals. Because the bottom variable is the dependent variable. The top row is the independent. So we need to find out what in the world are they doing to these x values. What did they do to 2 to get to 90? That also works to get from 3 to 135. Well, we're going up, right? So it's probably either addition or multiplication. 2 plus what gets me 90? Perfect. So they possibly added 88, or they could have multiplied by 45. Are you with me? Because 2 plus 88 is 90. 2 times 45 is 90. And it's probably one of those two because that'll make the answers bigger. Well, what works for the next one? Is 3 plus 88 135? No. So it looks like our addition isn't working. And this is where now we hope like crazy that the multiplication does. Well, 3 times 45. Is that going to give me the 135? Yep, it does. So then we could say, all right, well, I probably should check it this way. 4 times 45, does that work to give me 180? Yep, 'cause 4 times 2 is, never, don't do it that way. Okay, 45 times 2 is 90, times 2 again. Ignore me trying to do it in my head. So we want to say in our equation, D, this bottom row, is going to equal this top row times 45. Yes? So we could do that saying D equals 45 times, what do I put in there to symbolize my top row? Go for it, son. T, perfect. Because my top row is that lowercase letter t for a variable. So D equals 45 times t. Later on in life, you learn you should do the number times the variable. If you would do t times 45, totally fine for now. But if you try to get the number in front and you multiply, that's what you'll end up doing in a year or two. Good? Next one. You get from 1 to 3 and 4 to 6 and 6 to 8. So we could add 2 or multiply by 3. So do you agree this 1 plus 2 gets me the 3? And 1 times 3 gets me 3? What works for getting from 4 to 6? Adding 2 or multiplying by 3? Yep, multiplying by 3 doesn't work here. That'd give you 12. But adding 2 does. Does it work for the last one? Perfect. Let's write the formula and then we're done. What comes before my equal sign? C. Perfect. So that bottom row is going to be C, the number of Congress people, congresspersons, men and women. All right, now we need to say the top row plus 2. Somebody take it. Just holler it out.
R plus 2.
R plus 2. In harmony. So C equals, bottom row equals top row R plus 2. You good? And if we look at those learning targets, it should be those two things. I can fill in a table when given a formula. That was the first example. And then second example, I can find a formula from a data table. Awesome. So the page 69 is the stuff due tomorrow.